Today I am actually talking about this lens, the legendary 50mm f1.2 lens. This is a godly lens. This review is going to be about why I don't think you should actually purchase this lens. I'm going to go ahead and put it at the beginning of the video. If you have this lens, I don't knock you for owning it. I think it's freaking fantastic. It's just basically putting my own opinion and my own thoughts into me owning it personally. If you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post a lot of 35mm film stuff, 110 film stuff, which is the little film, wigglograms, and various other cameras. So I already have a lot of content posted. I should be here. I already have a lot of content posted, and I have a lot more to come. So make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with some of the cool projects I got going on. So let's get right to the video. Quickly, this is a 50mm f1.2 lens that is still made in production today. It was originally introduced in the 1980s. It is a manual focus lens. It's as bare bones as you get. It's just glass and metal. Really simple. I did run a roll of film on my Nikon F5 using the f.2 lens, and then I did have one here that I converted with this little simple converter to use on my A6000. So I used it on video, film, and I'll be showing some other images throughout the video. So yeah. I also do have this lens, which is the 50mm 1.8 lens. It is the smallest of the bunch in the 50mm range, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and put examples of those images in comparison to this to see what you're getting. Obviously there's the 50mm 1.8, there's the 1.4, which I don't actually have, and then there's the 1.2, which I do have. So I am missing this in-between lens, and I'll actually talk about the 1.4 throughout the video. But we're going to show some comparisons between this and this. Obviously you can see the physical difference. Massive. Also, yes, I do have two of these lenses. I do have the 50mm f1.2, two of them, so I can do the comparisons on both. If you haven't seen my pawn shop pickup video, I'll put a little link and then I'll put the little bubble up top. Check that video out. You can see what I paid for it. You'll see why I'm excited to actually own these things. I got a ridiculously good deal. You can see in the comments too, I got a really good deal on it. I'm really excited about it, so I wanted to share this knowledge with you guys. Also, update from that video, you do see on the first one I didn't have these little rubber rings on the focus ring. I did actually pick them up for both of them. It was just a really quick replacement, you just put them on. It does kind of suck that they do kind of peel off. I don't think they're that great, but I paid $14 for both these little rubber rings, and really good investment. It does actually help me with the grip. I thought it was going to be a simple thing, but it does actually help in the long run, so really cool. So I'm going to talk about the positives first, then we'll get to the not so nitty gritty. Positives. f1.2 wide open, this thing is blurry sharp. It is stupid. A lot of people obviously recommend it to shoot it at f2, but at f1.2 this thing is so much so it's ridiculous. The construction is solid and the lens feels really good in the hand, just moving it around. It just feels like, you know, you're getting a quality build here. And it does also look really cool on the camera. I mean, just a really nice slab of glass on the top of it. It does complement the Nikon F5. It is kind of weird on the Sony A6000. I'll see if I can cut to a video of it. It does kind of fit weird in that same sense of just like adapter and then the thing, and I'll put a picture of it, but on film cameras this thing soars on appearance. It looks fantastic. So yeah, you can use this thing to get really close, put it wide open, and you can get some really cool intimate shots, isolating the background. Obviously the blur and the bokeh is ridiculous, so you know what you're getting yourself into. This is, you know, a monster. I did take this specific setup to Yosemite National Park. I'm going to cut to some of the pictures. It did produce exactly what I wanted. I had a really good time testing out my lens. Obviously I've shot my Nikon F5 before, but testing out this lens using Portra 400, I got some really good sharp results that I think just great. I can't say anything better about them. They're really good. I did also switch off between the 50mm 1.2 and the 50mm 1.8, so you can see kind of the difference on film, what the difference would be, I guess, which you can see on the film. And yeah, it is one whole stop of a difference, I believe, and you do actually visibly see less blur on the 1.8 wide open than on the 1.2. That's kind of a given, but I did want to put examples to kind of show you guys the difference. Okay, so now we're getting to why I actually don't think you should buy this lens. I mean, I've said nice things about it, and I love the lens, but here's some reasons why I don't actually think you should pick them up. So to start off, you'll be shelling out for a brand new one about 700 clams, and for a used one, we're talking clams here, the conversion rate's about the same USD, 200 to 300 clams. So it isn't that easy on the wallet, considering, I mean, it's a great lens, but on the wallet, it is kind of pricey. Second is the fact that you can't, I mean, you can shoot it at 1.2 and you get some blurry images, which is fantastic. Blurry in a good sense. I always have to specify that. Blurry in a really good sense where it just isolates the background like just nothing. But a lot of people looking online say not to shoot it at f1.2, but to actually shoot it at f2, which is a really good different gauge for the camera itself. The only difference between that, and I did want to bring up the f1.4 50mm, is that they both have an f2 setting. So it's kind of one of those, you should probably shoot the 1.4 at f2 rather than the 1.2 f2. The reason why I'm bringing up the f1.4 50mm is that it is ridiculously less expensive than the 50mm 1.2. You can pretty much buy an f1.8 and a 1.4, you can compare and it'll still come out cheaper than this one. So I'm mentioning it a lot because price point to me as a budget photographer is so key. So something that if you did want to buy this, I think you should check out the 1.4. I'm not gonna lie, I have this setup, obviously the Nikon 50mm, plus this camera, plus all these batteries, plus me hiking, make for me being super tired after trying to take these pictures. So the manual lens and trying to get the focus just right was really tough. It's basically me having to compose myself, really just like, okay, stand still, because at 1.2 it's so sharp that it takes a lot for me to compose it. I had to like crouch down and kind of get lower to get some of the really sharp shots. It's like on Call of Duty when you're on a sniper for too long. I was so tired that I was on the sniper for way too long to where it kind of just like... If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. So I just got this really simple converter that does all Nikon things, any manual lens. This won't obviously work on any autofocus lens. It doesn't send any information to the camera on the Sony or anything. It's just to slap this lens onto that camera. I'm actually recording with the Sony itself right now, but if you were to put it right there, and it does allow me to put the 1.8 as well to do comparison video. And I would say that this actually is really good for product photography, to get really close, to get that nice sweeping panning focus effect that you see on sometimes on really intimate, to really show detail and things. And it's actually quite nice, but again, I really think you should go with the f1.4 instead of the 1.2. I think you can get that same effect on it. Obviously, if you have the budget as a photographer to go and purchase this lens, and you have a clientele or budget or anything that would specify you needing that extra stop to getting that extra crispiness, I'm all for it. I'm not trying to discourage people, I'm just trying to put some information out there, so basically you know what you're getting yourself into. This isn't going to be a lens that you're going to notice a crazy difference to where like that extra money was worth it, but this is a lens that you definitely, where you put your, I don't know, it's just like one of those lenses. I think it's kind of more hype than it is actually necessary. Don't get me wrong, if you need it, go for it. If you don't need it, if you're on the fence about it, go with the 1.4. I think it's very worthwhile. Overall, I'm really stoked that I have this lens, let alone two of them, considering I would not have purchased this lens outright if I was to see it on the used market or even on a new market. Like I said, I got it at a pawn shop for a ridiculously good deal. Check out the video. I'll put a link or a little thing to it in the description. I'm beyond blessed to own this lens, but at the same time, I would not purchase it. If I was in the market for one, as I was saying multiple times, I would go with the 1.4. I'm even happy with the 1.8 in some situations. Just putting it at wide open at 1.8, you get some great shots, and you even get some other ones at, I think it's 2.8 on the lens. You get some good shots on it too. So overall, don't get this lens if you don't need it. If you're kind of just wanting to buy it because it looks great, go for it. If you want it because you have projects that can actually use it, definitely go for it. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. Do you already have one of these lenses? If you do, tell me what you use it for, or something that you feel is worthwhile for the 1.2. Or if you have the 1.4, tell me if that's your go-to lens. I've seen a lot of people talk about that and say, you know, that's my go-to. The 1.4 is it for me, and I think that's fantastic. Like I had said earlier, make sure to like and subscribe. I have more videos coming out. I'll actually do a little sneak peek of my next one. This 16 lenses, and it does this. Check out my Instagram, aimshootdevelop, by the same name as the YouTube channel, where I post a lot of the gear before it hits YouTube, so you get a good glance of what's coming up for new videos, or also, I don't know, what's just going down in my life. Any photography projects or instant film stuff that I post gets posted there. So that's pretty much the video. Keep shooting film. Take care. Peace.